To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Now I know upon seeing the title of the video, a lot of you know what I'm going to be talking about today, but I have good news. I'm going to be diving into different specific illusions that Disney uses to heighten the immersion, and if you have no idea what I'm talking about, hey, I guess you're in the right place too, because I'm going to be introducing these illusions to people who have never heard of them before and have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about right now. The Disney parks are a place that put immersion and storytelling on the top of their list. Number 2 on that list would be, I suppose, putting gift shops at the end of attractions, because it's very important that you buy that merchandise. Imagineers are masterful storytellers, and they have ways of pulling the wool over guests' eyes, that way they don't realize they're in the middle of downtown Anaheim, California, or in a Florida swamp. So today we will be taking a look at how Disney tricks not only your eyes, but also your ears, nose, and the mosquitoes around Disney property into obeying their every whim. Today we will be taking a look at how millions of guests every single year fall for Disney's tricks, and how you, yes you specifically, yes I can see you there watching this video, how you have been fooled by Disney. Now we all know Walt Disney was a visionary, and he liked his audiences to be completely immersed in whatever movie his studios would put out. Things like the multiplan camera gave audiences a feeling of depth in animated scenes for the very first time. Animators would have actors act out scenes from the movie. This way they had something they could base the character's movement off of. Not only would this give the animated characters a realistic way to move, but it would also sometimes influence the character design itself to be reminiscent of that actor. Basically what I'm trying to say is Disney was leading the industry in realistic animation, immersive animation. When it came time for Walt and the Imagineers, then called WED, to design Disneyland, they took the same approach. Walt wanted several lands in Disneyland, and for each land to feel like you stepped into a different genre of film or entertainment. One land would be based off the Western frontier, another a storybook fantasy, and another the futuristic year of 1986? I guess it was the future back then. Different attractions would help build immersion in the land, like a stagecoach ride in Frontierland, the giant teacups that apparently existed in the Middle Ages in Fantasyland, and the futuristic highways of 1986. I mean, come on, Tomorrowland has not aged well at all. And now everybody, please pay attention, we have come to my first bullet point on the list of things Disney does to trick you. Finally, something that helps build immersion in attractions and lands is something Disney fans, Disney employees, and I guess people call Sightlines. Sightlines are present at every single Disney park, but they are extremely important at Disneyland because Disneyland is so small and you're in the middle of a giant metropolitan city. I will now read to you an article from a book that I just wrote called An Idiot's Guide to Maintaining Sightlines at a Theme Park. Step 1 to maintaining sightlines at one's theme park is to build a berm. Now you're saying, what is a berm? Go ahead, say it, even if you know what it is, say it. A berm is a very advanced piece of technology. A berm is defined as a flat strip of land, raised bank, or terrace bordering a river or canal. Basically, what do you do to your Disney theme park if you don't want the Southern California atmosphere to seep inside Disneyland? You build a wall out of dirt. And that's exactly what WED did. They just gathered a bunch of dirt and built a massive dirt wall surrounding Disneyland called the berm and put the railroad on top of it. The Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World also features a berm, but Disney California Adventure over there, across the way, does not feature a berm and allows you to see the Anaheim Convention Center while you're inside the park, thus breaking rule number 1 of how to maintain sightlines in a theme park: build a berm. A point that I see raised often is that Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout ruins the sightlines of Hollywood Land, Buena Vista Street, and Bugs Land. And well, I guess I'm just gonna be blunt here, it definitely does. But a point I don't see raised as often is that why is there a castle at the end of a turn-of-the-century Main Street? And that reason is because, ladies and gentlemen, Walt Disney wanted you to work your way down Main Street towards the castle with your goal upon first entering the park to reach the castle. The castle is a great example of what Disney fans affectionately call a weenie. Yeah, a weenie. This is a structure that is meant to be the focal point of a land or area, like the castle in Fantasyland and Main Street USA, or Big Thunder Mountain in Frontierland. If Disney Imagineers put something large and imposing in front of you and shuffle you down a path towards that object, it's just a natural way of keeping the crowds moving through the park. But I kind of lie when I say the castle in Big Thunder Mountain are large and imposing. Rule number 2 of maintaining sightlines in a theme park. Forced perspective. Now this is a problem Walt Disney encountered early on in the making of Disneyland. He couldn't make every single building a 1-to-1 scale. Instead, he had to make them a 1-to-1 scale on the bottom, but the further you move up the building, the smaller the features get. Because the features are getting smaller as they move up the structure, it feels like the structure is taller because the features feel like they're getting further away. Does that make sense? Now before we move away from Sightlines, I just want to mention something that's fun about the size of Disneyland. If you go to Adventureland towards the Tiki Room and look up to the top left of the Tiki Room, you will see the Jolly Holiday and the Tiki Room merging into one structure. This Yesterland picture is the only picture I've managed to find of what I'm talking about on the internet. See, you can see the thatched roof of the Tiki Room melding into the Victorian style of the Jolly Holiday. I think this sudden transition is extremely awesome and something you can only get at Disneyland. And now we close the Sightlines book and move on to another way they trick your eyes, and that is painting things a very, very special color. Now whether you're a Disney fanatic like myself or just an average tourist to the parks, you've probably seen this color around, but maybe you haven't quite noticed it. This special shade of green is referred to by Disney fans and sometimes Disney themselves as no Seeum Green. This is a very special shade of bland, grayish green that you see very often in the parks, but you may not always notice. The color was created with the idea that the common eye would just glaze right over it. Because this color is the epitome of neutral, it's very easy to just glance right past anything that's painted in this color. Disney paints things like electrical boxes on the side of attractions this color. Things like fences and construction walls are also colored no Seeum Green, because I guess Disney doesn't want to give you the idea that sometimes they do construction. Famously, the old Club 33 door is also colored no Seeum Green, not the new one though. The new one's more of a cute blue color, because they want you to see this one, you know? But don't go thinking you can paint your entire house this color and go unseen by your neighbors. Disney keeps the formula that they use for this specific color completely secret. So remember, next time you're in the park, pay very close attention to your surroundings. You may end up noticing something that Disney doesn't want you to see. Oh, and I'm not talking about like super dark secrets or anything. It's probably just like a show building or a trash can or something. But now we move on from how Disney tricks your eyes to how Disney tricks your other senses, in this case specifically how they trick your nose. Now lots of Disney fans are familiar with the smellitizers, and if you're not, don't worry, I'll explain them. When you're walking down Main Street USA towards the castle, your senses are being bombarded, not only visually but also smellingly? Aromatically? I'll come back to that. You see, on either side you have bakeries, you have gift shops, you have candy stores, you have restaurants, you have all these different kinds of shops that sell food, and Disney wants you to buy that food. How does Disney get you to buy that food? Well, they pump the scent out from those restaurants or from those bakeries into Main Street USA, so that way when you're walking past the Gibson Girl, you say to yourself, you know, I could use 3 scoops of ice cream right about now. These smellitizers are not only limited to use on Main Street USA though. Disney uses them in other lands like New Orleans Square to pump out the salty sea air of Pirates of the Caribbean to, I guess, entice you to ride it because that ride smells amazing. But they also use the smellitizers on the rides themselves, on rides like Soarin' where you smell the dirt from the African savanna, or on Spaceship Earth where you smell burning Rome. As odd as that is, I enjoy the smell immensely. All of Disney's individual food carts are also equipped with these smellitizers, allowing you to smell the popcorn as you walk past or the delicious churro. Something that not only improves guests' sense of immersion in the parks but also ties into Sightlines are the backstage areas. Sometimes at Disneyland, guests' immersion would be ruined by seeing a Tomorrowland cast member walk through Frontierland or a Frontierland cast member walk through Main Street USA. I mean, just what the heck is a person from the future year of 1986 walking through the American Old West? When it came to building Walt Disney World in Florida, Disney knew this was a problem and they took it upon themselves to fix it. Disney came up with the idea of the utilidors, the utility corridors, a sort of underground tunnel system that cast members could use to navigate the park. This allowed cast members to move from Frontierland to Tomorrowland without being seen by guests. There was only one problem though. Disney had the idea of the utilidors being underground, but you couldn't really dig down in Florida because the water level is basically right beneath your feet, not only because you were in a swamp, but also because you were in Florida. So instead of digging the tunnels underground and dealing with all that mud, Disney decided to build the utilidors on ground level and the park above that. So when you enter the Magic Kingdom and begin your journey down Main Street USA, you are actually on the second level of Walt Disney World. Disney decided not to build a second set of utilidors for Epcot though. Instead, it is circled by an enormous service road that allows cast members to get around without being seen by guests. I guess you could say when it comes to theming at Walt Disney World, Disney really stepped it up a notch because the utilidors are on the first level and the park's on the second. Never mind. So what do you think? What is your favorite way Disney tricks your senses into believing you're actually in these environments? And did I miss anything in this video? Did I miss any of your favorite illusions that Disney uses in its parks to help build immersion? I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below, and of course I'm planning on releasing an idiot's guide to maintaining sightlines at a theme park at a later date. I think what we can take away from this video is that Disney are master storytellers, and they can make you believe you're in a South American jungle when you're in the middle of Anaheim, California, and they can make you feel like you're present during the burning of Rome because you can smell the smoke and see the fire when, in actuality, you're in a swamp in Central Florida inside a giant sphere. And if you manage to get a hold of the special secret formula, you are now able to make anything you want to completely invisible to the human eye, just by painting it a special shade of green. Hello everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video on how Disney tricks the senses when you're inside the theme parks. If you did enjoy that, please hit the like button and the subscribe button if you want to subscribe and see more videos like this. And also, if you feel so inclined, you can hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload a new video. That way you can be among the first to see the brand new episode. If you really enjoyed this video and you want to be part of the process, please consider going over to my Patreon and even throwing just $1 or $2 my way. That way you get early access to episode audio and access to exclusive Patreon giveaways. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter. I post updates regarding my life, when I will be in the parks, and just funny anecdotes I find about Disney on my Twitter. Also, the Offhand Disney Discord is up now under new management, better and improved. Also, feel free to stop by my Spreadshirt shop. You can help support me over there just by picking up a shirt and showing off your offhand pride in the parks. And also, I want to say very special thanks to Yesterland for supplying that photo of the Tiki Room Jolly Holiday sightline funny gag thing. It's the only really good quality picture I could find of it online, so thank you. I will have a link to their website in the description down below, and as always everybody, thank you all so very much for watching this video. I hope to see you all in the Disney parks when I go there later this year. I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.